Nicolas Maduro. You rigged an election in July 2024. Everyone knew it. The actual winner, a man named Edmundo Gonzalez, posted videos of 80% of the ballot papers from across the country showing he had won. You arrested his allies. You blocked him from taking office. You had been in power for 11 years and you were not going anywhere. But Washington had seen enough. 1 week before January 3rd, Trump calls you directly. He says, "You have to go. A US warship is already floating off your coast. You almost give in. You stay." That is the last decision you make as president of Venezuela. The CIA had been inside your country since August 2025. 5 months of watching. Where you slept, what you ate, what you wore, where you moved, who visited. They tracked your pets. Delta Force built a full replica of your compound and ran the raid inside it until they could do it in the dark. It is 1 a.m, January 3rd, 2026. 150 aircraft from 20 different locations lift off at the same time. Air defenses across Caracas go down in the first wave. A Black Hawk flies 100 feet above the ocean, crosses into Venezuelan airspace, and lands at Fort Tuna. Delta Force breaches your bedroom. You are dragged out of bed. You run for a steel safe room. You do not reach it. By 3:30 in the morning, you are on a warship in the Caribbean. Blindfolded, gray Nike sweatsuit, plastic water bottle in your hand. Trump takes a photo and posts it online. 5 days later, you say not guilty in a Manhattan courtroom. 4 days after that, the US announces it is taking over management of Venezuela's oil fields. You were the story. The oil was always the point. Ayatollah Khamenei. You are the supreme leader of Iran. You have been calling America the Great Satan for 37 years. It is day 11 of Ramadan. Across Iran, 85 million people are fasting. No food, no water from sunrise to sunset. The holiest month of the Islamic year. You have built your entire government around the idea that Iran is the defender of Islam against Western aggression. Every Friday for 37 years, crowds in Tehran have chanted death to America in your name. Behind the scenes, your government has been funding Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and armed groups across Iraq and Syria. Every time American soldiers died at those groups' hands, the weapons and money traced back to Tehran, to you. In January 2026, your security forces killed thousands of Iranian protesters in the streets. The protest had started because people were hungry and the economy had collapsed from decades of sanctions. You crushed it. Trump had been watching. Israel had been watching longer. On February 27th, the decision is made. The CIA shares your exact location with Israel's intelligence service. You hold a senior officials meeting every Saturday morning at your compound on Pasteur Street in central Tehran. The location has not changed in years. February 28th, day 11 of Ramadan. Your morning meeting begins at 9:30. U.S. Cyber Command moves first. Iran's entire military communication system goes dark before a single bomb falls. Your generals cannot call each other. Your air defenses cannot coordinate. The blackout lasts 4 seconds. That is enough. 200 Israeli jets cross into Iranian airspace. U.S. aircraft launch 900 strikes in 12 hours. Your compound takes a direct hit in the first wave. You, the head of your military, the defense minister, and 40 senior officials die before noon. Iranian state media says you are safe, then alive, then stable, then stops saying anything. At midnight, they confirm it. Trump calls it total victory. 9 days later, Iran installs your son Mojtaba as the new supreme leader. He is deeper inside the IRGC than you ever were, already under US sanctions, already making it clear he is not backing down. Trump started the war to end Iran. Your son is now running it. And Trump is the one asking for a ceasefire now. Saddam Hussein. You have been running Iraq for 24 years. In February 2003, U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell stood in front of the entire United Nations and told every country on Earth that Iraq could launch a biological weapon attack within 45 minutes. He held up satellite photos. He played recordings. He said the evidence was solid. It was not solid. None of the weapons existed. But 400,000 U.S. troops were already moving. Baghdad fell in 21 days. You disappeared. For 8 months, the most powerful military in the world could not find you. You had no phone, no internet, no address. You moved between farmhouses near your hometown of Tikrit, relying on 2 cousins who brought food and cash. One of them talked. The tip led to two farmhouses south of Tikrit, 8 miles outside the city, codenamed Wolverine 1 and Wolverine 2. The 4th Infantry Division hits both sites at the same time. Wolverine 1 is empty. At Wolverine 2, a soldier sees disturbed dirt near a mud hut. He finds a handle buried in the ground. He pulls it open. You are 8 feet underground. The hole is 6 feet wide. You have a pistol, 2 rifles, and $750,000 in cash within arm's reach. A soldier asks in Arabic, "Are you Saddam Hussein?" You say, "Yes, I am the president of Iraq and I want to negotiate." Nobody negotiates. You had a loaded pistol 8 inches from your hand. You did not pick it up. 3 years later, you stand on a gallows in a Baghdad military base with a noose around your neck. Guards are shouting insults at you. Someone in the room has a phone. You keep praying until the floor opens. The video is online before midnight. He hid $750,000 in cash and a loaded gun in that hole. He used neither. Muammar Gaddafi, the brother leader of the revolution. That is your official title, 42 years in power. A title that takes 5 seconds to say out loud. October 20th, 2011. You are hiding in a drainage pipe. In 2011, Libyans in Benghazi rose up against you. Egypt had fallen, Tunisia had fallen. Now it was their turn. You went on television and called them rats. You promised to hunt them door to door. The United Nations authorized a no-fly zone. The US, UK, and France took it further. American aircraft flew 26,000 sorties over Libya in 8 months. Every time the forces massed to attack the rebels, bombs arrived first. City by city, your army collapsed. By October, you have 1 city left, Sirte, your hometown. You have 75 vehicles, a few hundred fighters, and nowhere to go. October 20th. Your convoy moves on Highway 1. A US Predator drone picks it up from high above. It fires. French fighter jets arrive seconds later. The convoy breaks apart. Vehicles burn across the road. You run from your car. You end up in a concrete drainage pipe on the side of the road. You have a golden pistol and 2 bodyguards. Rebel fighters drag you out 2 hours later. Your face is bloody and swollen. You say to the men holding you, "What did I do to you?" Phones are recording. You are beaten and shot. Your body is driven to the city of Misrata and put on display in a commercial freezer. Libyans line up for 3 days to look at you. He called his people rats for 42 years. He was pulled out of a pipe. Manuel Noriega. The CIA had been paying you since the 1960s. You ran Panama's intelligence service for them, passed secrets on Cuba and the Soviet Union. In return, they looked the other way while you ran cocaine into America. You were on 2 payrolls at the same time, and both of them were good. Then you became a problem. By 1988, federal prosecutors in Miami had charged you with drug trafficking while you were still running the country. You rigged the 1989 election so badly that international observers walked out. When the man who actually won tried to take office, your forces beat him on camera. Then one of your soldiers shot a U.S. Marine dead at a checkpoint. December 20th, 1989. 24,000 U.S. troops invade Panama. The largest American military operation since Vietnam. Panama City becomes a war zone in 3 hours. You move between safe houses as the net closes. Christmas Eve. You walk into the Vatican diplomatic mission in a yellow shirt with a Bible under your arm. Diplomatic buildings are untouchable under international law. You know this. The papal representative lets you in. The U.S. military surrounds the building and starts playing rock music through giant speakers pointed straight at the walls. A C/DC, Van Halen, Guns N' Roses. Full volume. 24 hours a day. The Vatican formally protests. The volume goes down slightly. The music stays. You last 10 days. January 3rd, 1990. You walk out in your general's uniform and hand yourself to U.S. drug agents. Convicted 1992. Sentenced to 40 years. Died in prison in 2017. You survived the CIA, the cartels, and 2 governments. You did not survive a playlist. Ngo Dien Diem. You are Ngo Dien Diem. You are the president of South Vietnam, and you are on the phone with the American ambassador. The generals have moved. Tanks are outside your palace. You are asking, what will the United States do? The ambassador says it is 4:30 in the morning in Washington. He cannot reach anyone at that hour. He suggests you think about your own safety. Since 1954, the US had built South Vietnam around you. Money, weapons, thousands of military advisors. All of it yours. In return, you ran a government that jailed critics, sent secret police into Buddhist temples to beat monks at night, and slowly lost every person it needed to win a war. Buddhist monks started setting themselves on fire in Saigon's streets. The photos went around the world. Your sister-in-law went on television and called it a barbecue, said she would clap. The CIA station chief in Saigon sent Washington one cable. This government cannot win this war. Washington sent one message back to your generals. We will not stand in your way. November 1st. The coup starts. You and your brother escape through a tunnel under the palace. You reach a safe house in Saigon's Cholan district. The next morning, you go to a Catholic church nearby and take communion. The general's soldiers find you there. Armored vehicle, hands tied. By the time it reaches military headquarters, both of you are dead. Kennedy gets the news at a morning meeting. His face goes white. He walks out without a word. The cables that approved the coup never said kill him. That distinction was not useful to you. Emilio Aguinaldo. In 1898, America showed up in the Philippines and called itself a liberator. You had been fighting Spain for 2 years. You welcomed the US. You fought together. Spain left. Then America paid Spain $20 million for the islands, kept them, and told you your republic did not exist. You fought back. 3 years. 70,000 US troops, hundreds of thousands of Filipinos dead from the war, the famine, the disease that came with it. By 1901, you had gone deep into the mountains of Palanan in northern Luzon. Nobody could find you. You were waiting for reinforcements you had sent for. Your own letters gave you away. Brigadier General Frederick Funston had been intercepting your couriers for months. He broke your message system, learned your exact location, learned one thing more. You were expecting reinforcements to arrive soon. He dressed 79 Filipino scouts loyal to the US in rebel uniforms. He and 4 American officers walked behind them with their hands behind their backs, pretending to be prisoners. They marched 100 miles through jungle over weeks. When they reached your camp, your guards saw rebel soldiers arriving with American captives. They opened the gates. The scouts opened fire. You ran for the jungle. You were caught within the hour. April 1st, 1901. You signed the Oath of Allegiance to the United States. You lived to 1964. You watched the Philippines get its independence, the exact thing you had been fighting for since 1896, 63 years later. Without you, you were not the one who finished it. Jefferson Davis. You are Jefferson Davis. The Civil War ended a month ago. You have not accepted it. 620,000 people had died, more Americans than every other American war combined. You were still moving south through Georgia, writing letters to Confederate commanders, telling them to keep fighting. You had a plan to reach the coast, maybe Cuba, maybe Europe, maybe anywhere. The war was over. You had not told yourself yet. May 10th, Irwinville, Georgia. Union cavalry circles your camp at 4 in the morning. No lights, no warning. You wake to the sound of horses. You get up to leave in the dark. Your wife throws a coat over your shoulders against the cold. You walk toward the tree line. You are caught before you reach it. The Union press reported within days you had been wearing women's clothes when captured. The story spread everywhere. You denied it for the rest of your life. Your wife said it was her raincoat. Historians have argued about the coat since 1865 and have not stopped. 2 years at Fort Monroe, Virginia, charged with treason. Case eventually dropped. Never convicted of anything. You spent the next 24 years writing that the Confederacy had been right, that secession was legal, that the war had not been about slavery. 620,000 dead. 24 years arguing about a coat. Jean-Bertrand Aristide. You are Jean-Bertrand Aristide, and the US is the reason you are still president. In 1991, the Haitian military threw you out 7 months after you took office, 3 years in exile. In 1994, America sent 20,000 soldiers to Haiti to put you back. One of the only times in history the US restored a leader instead of removing one. By 2004, they had changed their mind. Armed rebel groups had taken over most of the country in 2 months. Your police stopped answering. Your allies had left. The US had stopped shipping you weapons a year earlier. France was pushing you out too. February 29th, U.S. Marines arrive at your residence. You are taken to the airport. What happens next depends entirely on who you believe. You say agents told you that you would be killed if you stayed, that documents were placed in front of you, that you had no real choice. You have called it a kidnapping in every interview since. The U.S. State Department says you signed a resignation letter voluntarily, chose your destination, and walked onto the plane yourself. You land in Bangui, Central African Republic, a country you have never been to. You make your way to South Africa, then Jamaica. You do not return to Haiti for 7 years. The passenger manifest from that flight has never been made public. No recording from inside your residence that night exists on record. The plane took off. Both sides agree on that part.